Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the studios of Grafton Community Television at 26 Providence Road. This is Meet the Candidate. I'm Bob DeToma. I have a guest in the studio today. Her name is Rebecca Soco. She is running for school committee, and she currently holds a seat on the school committee. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you, Bob.
This is your second go, so this should be a breeze.
I hope so.
Yeah. Let me start with something that I was thinking about before you came into the building. What is the role of school committee?
It's on paper, it's pretty simple, right? So we're in charge of policy for the school district. We're in charge of evaluating the superintendent. We're in charge of negotiating teacher contracts. We're in charge of approving the budget. But I feel like none of those things really encompass what we actually do on school committee. And the thing that I always like to focus on and has really been hard this fiscal year in the last couple of years is like we're there to represent the students, and the students don't get to vote. So that's, for me, my role is to make sure that the values, the focus, all of that is on the students. And so we do all the work with that in mind.
How do you gain feedback from the students when you have the students in mind?
Yep.
And you want to support and help the students? Where do you get that feedback from?
That's a great question. And there is no amount of enough feedback, in my opinion. There's lots of like groups we have. There's a wonderful group that we meet with at the high school of students that gives us sort of focus there. But you're not meeting with kindergartners, learning about what their needs are, what their wants are. So we do really count on the staff in the buildings to give us feedback on what they're looking for. And we also, we all have our own sort of personal agendas, I guess you could say, on like what's important, right? Yeah. Like what's important and what, often they come from your own, what you think is important for your own self. And so it's like the things that I am always concerned about are mental health. And so when I'm looking at the students, I like to connect with the counselors and the other support staff in those roles to really sort of keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on in the schools that way. But we also have other great, like I'm on the wellness committee and there's student representatives. We do have the student representatives on the school committee as well, but we are sort of dependent on listening to parents, teachers, faculty, and staff for a lot of that.
Do you wait for students to volunteer to take part, or do you have to go out and wrangle kids to? It
depends on what the job is. Some kids are like chomping at the bit to be involved in like wellness committee. The students that are on that committee are just like, they are really engaged in supporting mental health, not just for themselves, but for making sure that that's supported like school-wide. They're high school students, so it's not, the whole district, but it's amazing. Sometimes, we have to do some recruiting, but the students are just, once you get them talking, they're so good at sharing. I feel like the people we have on school committee are really, we're not super intimidating. So it's nice, we are able to engage with students pretty well, and we have a broad background, so, we can't all necessarily engage with every group equally, but it's pretty even.
So is it exclusively high school students, or do you get some middle schoolers?
So that group is only high school because of we meet during the day, during part of their schedule. So that group is only high school students. We don't have a focus group right now specifically that school committee meets with for the middle school, but there are focus groups in the middle school, and then we get feedback from those from faculty and staff. Yeah.
Budget aside, what are some of the challenges you faced over 3 years?
Budget aside, I made a Facebook post recently where I was like, it's so hard to remember that there's things other than budget.
Right.
And it really is, like, we're still working with students every day. Where did you finish that question? What were the challenges?
Other than the budget, what are the challenges you face over the last 3 years?
Over the last 3 years, there's definitely been a couple different things sort of stand out for me is like keeping the focus on not only looking at the budget and what we're going to do in the future, but as I mentioned, I really care about student mental health. I wrote a resolution last year for removing BMI testing from the schools, which I think that's a really big. It's a trivial item in some ways, but I believe it's fifth grade. It's either fourth grade or fifth grade. all schools across the state measure BMI in students. They do it at school, and that information goes nowhere. Like, your parents are informed of it, but there's no action steps. It's not leading to a larger pool of knowledge that we're going to do something with. And there's a lot of mental health ramifications. There's also financial ramifications. Like, we have to have the nurses specially trained, and we have to have, like, it takes time, all of these things. And it's one of those things that we just kind of keep, kicking down the road here, like, oh yeah, whatever, it's not a big deal, you can opt out. But I think it does real damage, and if nobody stands up and says, let's stop doing that, then we'll just keep doing it. So anyway, Grafton School Committee put forward a resolution to get that removed, and I'm so excited to be able to share that not only did it pass to the state level, but there's some great meetings going on right now with legislatures to try and actually get that removed from the state. So that was one thing that I really liked, but there's a lot of things. The roofs is a big challenge.
That's interesting. So something that your
Yes.
pediatrician would discuss with mom and dad about the
Yes.
child. Do you have any idea how it got its way into
So there were initially
Must
when
be
it was
decades old,
yeah,
right?
it's old, and the way it was developed is a lot of it. There was initially sort of and that's going to lead us to, we're doing these like health initiatives in certain towns, and we're going to see if those numbers improve over time. But those health initiatives kind of fell by the wayside, and now it's just sort of a remnant of all of that. And yeah, your pediatrician can measure it if they want to,
Yeah,
but
Huh.
Yep.
So I saw a graphic that I thought was very interesting. It was the override passes versus the override gets defeated.
Yep.
Can you talk about that real quick? We all know what happens if the override passes.
Yep.
So the defeat side, what happens to the school district with the defeat?
Well, interestingly, we don't even really know what happens if it passes, because we didn't approve the number for the full budget. So the goal is to maintain level services if it passes. If it doesn't pass, and we spoke about it at the last school committee meeting, there's some pretty dramatic cuts to the school district. The music department gets hit really badly, and it devastates me. When I grew up, we did not have band I never played an instrument my whole life. It was just something that was not available to me in my, in my childhood. And my daughter got to play, she tried 3 different instruments in band through the elementary school. It's just, it's such a gift that we're able to offer that. And so all elementary school band would be gone, which is heartbreaking. French across the district would be gone, and all the middle school sports would be gone. There's a lot of other cuts as well, but the impact of just those is, those are things that I feel like there's sort of some discussion that I've seen where it's like, well, if we saw the impact of that, then maybe we would move forward with doing a bigger override to get those things back. But once those things are gone, rebuilding that is decades.
I was just going to say,
decades.
it's a decades-long
Yeah.
recovery is what I thought I heard recently.
Absolutely. It's absolutely decades. We're going to lose those teachers. Those programs are going to fall apart, and you don't just call that teacher back up and say, come back and do
Sure.
this thing for us. And unfortunately, Grafton's salaries aren't as competitive as many of our districts around us, so the teachers we may be recruiting at that point are going to be not as experienced, not the gems we have now. So
Do you grit your teeth when somebody says live within your budget?
it makes my stomach hurt. Yep, it really does. I have so many feelings about the override, but I think there's sort of this bubble that people look at where it's like, okay, right now this is not within our budget, but 6 years ago and 11 years ago, we made the conscious decision to not live within the budget of Prop 2.5 and Chapter 70 funding, and we asked the town, do we want to stay in this budget? And the town said, we don't want to stay in that budget, we want better services. So the option is to stay within our budget, and that's a budget where we don't have band, and we don't have middle school sports, and we don't have all of the things we're talking about. We have Spanish only as an elective potentially. That's the budget we have. And if that's what we want, that's a choice that we can make. But if we want to continue making the choice to have the excellent schools that we have on the shoestring budget that we're given, then we need to continue to say yes to the override.
I was thinking of that phrase the other day because I thought, okay, so let's do this mental exercise if you're going to live within your budget. And it's like, food prices have gone up, gasoline's gone up, the nation is at war, insurance costs have gone up, everything across the board from soup to nuts has gone up. And the only way to deal with that is you either make cuts or you find a new job that pays you twice as much.
Yep.
And frankly, nobody's offered me a job at twice the salary. So,
So here we are.
yeah. So I often wonder that people are quick to say it, but they're not quick to do the mental gymnastics and kind of think about that.
But I also feel like there's a lot of pushback because we're all feeling it as well.
Sure.
So it's like, of course I'm like, another place wants to take more money from me. It's a hard sell. But I'm so thankful that there's that beautiful calculator online where you can look at the impact it would have to you, and it was a lot lower than I thought it would be for my family. So that helped me feel better.
Okay, I'm going to give you the last couple of minutes to look at the camera and talk to people at home and
Wonderful.
and try to convince them that you're the woman for the job. And
thank you.
as we said, your camera's over there.
My camera's over there. Hi, I'm Rebecca Soco. I am running for re-election for school committee. I am absolutely passionate about this job. My background, I was a public school teacher for many years, and now I am a business owner. I have experience on both sides of the sort of running the schools section, and I have been doing this for 3 years, and it's just been such a joy, but also such a dramatic learning curve. And I'm so glad to be where I am, and I really would love to have the opportunity to continue to support our students, support our amazing schools, and fight for those schools to actually get better in the future instead of just piddling along trying to maintain that level service. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
It was really a pleasure.
Rebecca Soco is running for re-election to school committee, and she's been our guest this afternoon on Meet the Candidate. On behalf of all the talented people who work here at Grafton Community Television, my name is Bob DeToma. Thank you for watching.